All right, folks, time for a little homestead update. I haven't made any videos in a while, and things slow down over the winter. Everybody took time off over the holidays. I've been sick as hell actually for the last 2 weeks. I'm finally better. I had sort of a flu for about 4 days, and then it's kind of just morphed into this shitty cold where I've just had really low energy, but I'm doing better now. Still not 100%, maybe like 95%. So in this video, we'll do a little walkabout on the building here and talk a little bit about what's going on and maybe talk about some of my plans for the spring. Now, before I get into this, if you're watching this on YouTube, I just want to tell you about a special offer we have for 50% off your first year as a From the Field member. And you can still sign up for 7 days for free to try it out if you want to check it out. We have thousands of videos up here now, and it's been going over 2 years, and there's tons of content. And outside of myself, I'm not the only content creator here. So go and check that out if you're curious, and there'll be more information in the show notes or somewhere if you want to go and follow up with that deal. It'll be in there. All right, so let's just start in the greenhouse here. So we've got all of our windows in. We got those in a while ago. We've got the boxes built for the inside of them. And we've got our windows up here. We've got a big steel deck that's being fabricated right now that's going to go in here. And so this is my office door. And so there's going to be this deck that comes out about 5 feet, and it walks along here, and then there's a staircase down to walk into the greenhouse. And so that's being fabricated right now, and hopefully that we'll get that installed in here by early February. And the reason I have a door that's a double door. This is just kind of this DIY way we've patched this up for now, but I've got a double door that's going in here that my skid steer can actually fit through, but it's like 3/4 of an inch on each side of the wheel and about 2 inches on the top. So I didn't want to put the door in just yet because we're going to need to bring my skid steer in here to lift up this deck to get it into place so that we can attach it to the concrete there. And then what we're doing in here is we've got this material called FRP. It's a fiberglass something. It's what you see in a lot of pack houses and things like that, so you can wash the walls. We're putting FRP all in here, not all the way to the top because that would just be kind of excessive and not really necessary. But it's going to go, basically going to line up with these these windows and doors here. So there'll be 4x8 sheets going vertically all the way around, and then it'll come down here and it'll wrap all around here, and then we got to trim out all the windows. The idea is, this is a high humidity environment, and I wanted to be able to wash the walls really easily, but also make this building last a lifetime. And what else are we doing in here? So there's a bunch of raised beds going in here. That's the plan. It's actually going to be mostly raised beds. So I'm still kind of tinkering around with the design, but I'm getting the wood milled for it right now. It's all going to be 2x12 stacked. So these beds will be 2 feet tall, 2 feet high. And it's all going to be raised beds, the whole thing basically. There won't be beds along the wall because that's one kind of mistake I made in my last greenhouse, is that I had the beds too close to the wall, and they don't get a lot of sunlight in the winter anyways. And I didn't want to have anything up against the knee wall. So the beds will all be standalone. They'll be 2 feet off any wall. And the nursery aspect of this greenhouse is going to be very different than in my last one. It's all going to be verticalized. And my last one was to some degree, but I'm going to be using my wall space. I've got so much wall space in this greenhouse. So in this corner here, this is the western side, I'm gonna have a nursery table for, you know, potting and things like that. And then I'm going to be building these shelving units along this wall. And I'll have a little ladder that I can access them. And then there'll be another shelf that goes between these two windows that I'll be able to access from this deck. And I can have lights on there and all of that. The climate battery, so this greenhouse is a climate battery. If you've watched the vlogs, I've talked about this, you saw this built. But we haven't installed the system for this yet because we have to wait until we get all the FRP done. But we've got our intake for the climate battery there, and then the exhaust is over in that corner. So there's going to be a big spiral duct that comes up all the way up to the top, and it's going to run, and you can see one of our, that is one of our exhaust vents. There's 5 of them. The other ones we just have to cut out of the plywood. We haven't done that yet because there's no reason to. It would just make it cold in here until they were built. But basically we're going to be building some custom vents. They're just going to be built with wood, some insulation and flashing. And they're just going to have, I'm using these guys, these little automatic openers for greenhouses, and so they'll basically automatically open those at a certain temperature. I'll probably try to set it to about 30 degrees Celsius, so when it gets that warm in here, those will open up. We can just open up the windows here and then vent out up in the top. And another thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a greenhouse propane style heater in here. So it'll be, there'll be the propane tank I can just keep outside of the building. There'll be the heater there. And yeah, that's how it'll heat up. The climate battery, I mean, the idea with this greenhouse is that at a certain point, I won't really need heat, because once I've been running this climate battery for an entire summer and charging this ground, I'll be going into winter a lot more stable. And I do have wood heat in the garage, so I can exhaust that heat from any of these windows into this greenhouse and then suck it down and store it in the ground with the climate battery. That's the idea. But I wanted a propane heat just as a fast way to get the space warm really quickly, just as you would any other greenhouse. But another thing that we're looking at doing is creating a little exhaust, a little inline fan that will suck heat out of the garage. If I'm running wood heat in there, I can suck heat out and dump it into this space. So we have yet to figure out exactly how that's going to go. But yeah, that's what's going on in this space. Once it's done, it's going to be amazing. But you know, it does hold heat now. I mean, we were I've been climbing up this ladder and caulking some of the joints between the plywood, because we have to paint all that, and so we just want to seal everything. But it was a nice sunny day today. It was about, at the height of it, it was 8 degrees Celsius outside, which is, for mid-January, is unheard of. But it was warm, and it was 30 degrees in here where I stand. But when I was up on that ladder, I was sweating like crazy. It must have been 45 degrees Celsius, so a bit intense. So I'm going to go around and go into the garage. The solar system has been doing very well lately. We've finally getting into some sunny days. Today, I think we produced about 80 kilowatt hours, which is amazing. So the batteries for the system were topped up fairly early in the day, and I was able to get the Tesla totally charged up, which is awesome. And that's one of the great things about having an electric vehicle when you're off grid, is that if you have an extra place to dump power, basically. So this is the garage, single car garage. It's where all the power system is. You've seen all this before. Nothing really to talk about here, except we've got all of our drywalls done. It's painted right now. We are just putting the finishing the windows, sort of trimming the windows out. This little area is going to be sort of like a little workshop for me. We're going to build some shelving in here, a big counter, basically an L-shaped counter. And then I'm going to do a shelf, a big kind of utility shelf on that wall, hardware and things like that. And then another shelf right here. I really like to verticalize things, so we're going to use as much of that space as possible. And then coming into here, this is my office. And yeah, that's my office. So it's almost ready for me to move my stuff in here, which is sweet because I have not had a place to sit at the computer for a long time. Ever since we sold our house in Kelowna, I have been just kind of like doing minimal work on my computer, and I actually do a lot of work on the computer. But it's been difficult living in the cabin with my kids. It's very hard to get any work done. So it's going to be nice to have this operational, and I think I'll be able to do some live streams from here, which will be sweet. This door here that goes out to seemingly nowhere, but that's my view. This is where our house is going to go. And we'll be starting on that as soon as the snow melts in the spring. Hopefully, definitely by April 1st. But so the house is going there. There's a deck that connects these two, so I'll be able to walk right into the house. We'll have a little roof that connects them too, so I can, you know, it can stay snow-free or rain-free. But yeah, this is my office. And it's not going to be completely done for a bit. I've got this temporary door here. I'm going to have another door like the one you see right there. I'm still waiting on it, but that's going to go there, so it'll all be glass. And it's a nice space, high ceilings. Have my desk area in here, shelving, all that. Gonna have like a little work table area here where I can. Sometimes I film things. You know, you saw in the at my last house. You've seen the odd video where I have a camera mounted up on something and I'm drawing things, or whenever I'm doing something instructional like that. So that's going to be a space for that. And then I'll have some doors here so I don't have to, so I can kind of close off this area as well as that door. There'll be a door there too. But the guys should have the floor in this done tomorrow, so I should be able to start bringing my office stuff in here by Wednesday, and maybe I'll do a live stream this week. I don't know. We'll see. I've just been so out of it, being sick, and then my whole family was sick, and so just been kind of out of commission. But yeah, so that's what's going on in here. The wood stove is going to move back. We did that just temporarily so that we could finish the wall here and everything. But this wood stove will come up closer. These Blaze Kings they only need to be about 16 inches off the wall. So that'll go in there. And yeah, this building is, it's R22 walls. We're actually going to do a layer of outsulation on the outside too before we put the siding on. But we won't do that until the summer. Like, we're not going to do the siding on this until we do the siding on the house. So we still got a ways. But this building is surprisingly efficient. I only need to run one fire in here every few days to keep the ambient temperature above 10 degrees. Right now it's 20 degrees Celsius in here, which is about 70 Fahrenheit. And I had one fire going earlier today, and it should stay this warm for the next couple days. So the building is quite efficient and well insulated, but it'll be even better once we do the outsulation and the siding as well. But it's pretty sweet to be able to, I'll be walking out my office and then walking into the greenhouse. And so when I designed this whole place, I really just thought about my workflow And it was and for myself, being a guy who makes videos and, you know, has a business, you know, that I have to sit at the computer a lot, but I still am very active on the farm or the homestead. I wanted to really think about how I move around the property. And so it was important for me to be able to sit in my office and then walk into a greenhouse right away, and then from the greenhouse walk into the gardens. And so that's one thing. I wonder, yeah, I'll just go this way and I can kind of show you guys. So I'm actually gonna be starting on these gardens fairly soon, because I've got the wood being milled right now, and I can start building those this winter, but I won't be getting them into place until the snow melts. But so you can see here, these are some of the garden terraces. And so my first garden terrace that I'm going to develop is a straight shot down. And so the idea here, as far as the way I utilize this space, is that from my greenhouse I can walk straight out into the garden. And so, and then that's kind of how I thought about the layout of this greenhouse as well. So there's two doors to this greenhouse. There's the house side door on the eastern wall, and then there's this double door on the western wall. So this door is more used for in the springtime when we're getting things going in the garden. We're coming out of this door and walking straight out of the garden. You know, we're bringing nursery flats and transplants and things like that out. But on a sort of a maintenance side of things, I'll be actually walking out the other door on the eastern side and walking out into the garden this way. So we've got this, I've got a lot of landscaping to do still. Everything's covered in snow. But there's a lot of footpaths and things like that around. And so, you know, on a maintenance side of things, I'll be kind of walking out right from my office down a set of stairs that's on the eastern side of this building into the garden. And so a lot of that just kind of how I move day to day was taken into consideration. And the kind of cool thing about doing a project like this in sort of a piecemeal type way is I've had time to live in this space and walk around and think about how I'm going to live in it, how I'm going to move around. So yeah, that's kind of the tour. This is a lot's going to happen in this space after the house goes up. So that post there, that represents the eastern corner of the house. I guess it would be northeastern corner of the house, because the house faces a bit more to the east. It's about 15 degrees to the east, so it's kind of like southeast. Whereas this building is actually a little bit to the southwest, just a little bit, which is wasn't what I wanted. I actually, when I did all this, I used this app called Soullight, which I've used for a long time for designing gardens and farms and whatnot, and it wasn't accurate. And I think that has to do with the fact that I have no cell service out here. And so we kind of screwed it up, but it's not detrimental really anyways. We might be like 10 degrees to the west, but so it's mostly true south. And so truth be told, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but when I put these panels up, there was a whole process and reason why I did this way. There's kind of, to explain it all now is pointless, but this one was supposed to be true south. That one was supposed to be southeast, and that one was supposed to be southwest. This is actually true south. And I've found this just by finding my place on Google Earth, and actually, because they've updated the images, looking, and it's like, that is true south. So what I'm going to do at some point in the summer is I'm going to turn this into a big cul-de-sac. And it's going to be sort of a utility area. I'm going to move this panel up here, and it'll be more in line with these. It's what I should have done in the first place. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but, you know, lesson learned. That's going to move there. This is going to be a big cul-de-sac, and it's going to be a big snow capture and rain capture area. There's going to be a drainage pit in here where water will drain, and I'm going to be able to, I'm going to get some kind of gasket to connect the panels on here so that they'll actually collect rainwater. And so rainwater will come onto this landing, and it's going to flow down towards the house, and then there'll be this gutter that moves it all out to a new pond that I'm going to develop over there, which I've spec'd out. And in the wintertime, I'll be able to push all the snow over. There's going to be about a 6 or 8 foot high retaining wall on that drop off there, which is on the eastern side, northeastern side of the house. So in the winter, I'll be able to just push all the snow out of here. And that means that I can kind of solve my problem with my panels, in that when we get snow, we actually haven't had snow in a little while. A lot of this has melted. But this has been kind of a pain in the butt. I'll be totally honest with you. It's been a bit of a hassle. So come summer, I'm going to pave all of this, and then I'll be able to basically shed that snow off, and then either with just, I tried to do everything designed so that I'm not reliant on machinery. And so I'm hoping that what I can do when this is paved, it's going to be nice and smooth. I'll be able to, with the snow shovel, just push all this stuff out always and just dump it over there, and then that snow will pile up and it'll drain out into this pond that I'm going to develop. And then this way, this will be just kind of a main thoroughfare access point. You know, the main entrance to the house is going to be here. And yeah, I'll probably do something else with this when we move this rig. I might put some gardens in here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but yeah, that's kind of how it's looking, folks. So I'll leave it there for now. And if you guys are still watching this on YouTube, check out the 50% offer that we have for fromthefield.tv. So you get 50% off your first year, and we still have our 7-day trial up, so you can go and check out fromthefield.tv for free for 7 days, no obligation. And if you feel like you want to sign up for a year subscription, you can do that right now at 50% off. There'll be the link in the show notes. I'll see you guys in the next video.